welcome to Wealth and Wellness with Grace Nabasabla.
Well, welcome
Yes,
everyone. It's starting. My name is Grace Nabasabla, and welcome to Real Estate Investing with Grace. So a little bit about me. I'm originally from Uganda. I came here, went to school, became an RN, and also a real estate investor, and also an agent currently. I'm excited to share my passion for real estate because I know how it's changed me. And that's the passion I'm trying to pass on to others. And I established a company called Kisa Homes, and Kisa is literally means grace. It just means grace. And the thing about grace, when people meet me, they think I exemplify my name. So I always treasure that. And what better way of naming a company than naming it over my name? So I thought about that really closely because so many times you think about names, the name signifies you. That's your brand, that's your symbol. So I thought about Kisa Homes initially, and I was like, you know what, Grace, everybody likes Grace. So I put a twist on it and changed it to Kisa because Kisa means grace in Luganda, and that's my native tongue. And the agenda for today, we have an introduction. So you'll feel free to introduce yourselves. I mentioned I'm Grace, and I have a frequently asked question. Slide will come to it soon. Also, we'll finish this presentation, and I request you all to share in the chat some questions that you may have, or if you'd like to unmute after we finish the PowerPoint slides, and you can ask your own questions, that would be great. And we'll have some final remarks. I'll proceed from there. And I also have a YouTube channel called Wealth and Wellness with Grace. On this channel, I share anything to do with wealth and wellness, especially coming from my background as a healthcare professional, as well as a real estate investor and agent. My vision and mission for Kisa Homes is to impact change by promoting financial literacy and providing access for investment strategies. Our mission is to empower individuals and communities through financial skills acquisition, transforming their family's financial trajectory for a more prosperous future. And some of our values include integrity, accountability, respect, and shared growth. And in 2016, that's when actually I really focused on economic empowerment. I used to attend demonstrations, and I'm very passionate about justice and change. And every time I would attend, I felt like I wasn't making an impact. Like just showing up, talking about it, and demonstrating, it wasn't going to change anything. Until I went to Uganda in 2014. And one of the gentlemen I met, he sat me down and he asked me a serious question. He asked me, what do you have going on in America? Do you own anything? What are you really doing? And the best answer I gave him was, I'm a student. I was literally a student for nearly 10 years. He talked to me about that, and he said, that's not good enough. And he was like, Black people will never amount to anything if we don't own, especially owning our own stuff. And that stuck with me. So during one demonstration in 2016, actually the picture at the top, that's that demonstration I'm talking about. We were on Government Street here in Baton Rouge. And after a young Black man got murdered during a traffic stoplight, and that was actually something in Minnesota, but all that always impacted me. I felt like if it can happen to one, it can happen to all. And while I was demonstrating, we were chased off of the sidewalk, and for some reason, I said, today is the day. I am not running anymore. I stopped and I said, I have a constitutional right to be on the sidewalk, and literally, the barricades. I just remember the barricades, the armors, everything right in front of me, and everybody was not there. It was just me who stood my ground. And that experience also taught me that nothing is going to change, because we can talk about it, we can walk and complain and beg and demand, but nothing will change unless we own our stuff. And that's how I changed that into empowering, especially myself, as well as empowering others. And this is a little bit about me. I'm a mother of 2 kids also. And now we can talk about the frequently asked questions. I've been getting these questions a lot. And mainly people ask, who should invest in real estate? And what should they invest in? What is real estate, right? When should they invest? Where should they invest? Why should they invest, and how? So these are the 6 big questions. So I'll start with who? Who should invest really in real estate? For me, I believe any of us should invest in real estate. And reason being, when you look at research shows the majority of millionaires, and actually billionaires, have their assets in real estate. And what better way for some of us who don't own a lot of assets to grow some assets than using real estate? You can use other asset investment strategies. However, real estate has stood the test of time. So that's what I try to encourage people. Try to diversify and consider real estate as your investment strategy. And what? So what is real estate per se? So real estate is a broad term. Real estate, anything, land, right? And everything on it. And the several types of real estate, we'll definitely dive more into this in the next session, but we have residential, this commercial, this single family, this multi-family. So it's so many types of real estate out there. You just have to think about what strategy might work for you. And when should you invest? That's always a good question. When should you invest? And a lot of people actually think that they have to wait for the perfect time to invest. There is never going to be a perfect time. You hear me? There is no perfect time for anything. The best time is now. Not even today, now. Now is always the best time. There's a Chinese proverb that the best time to invest was 20 years ago, but the next best time is today. So consider that. If you're still on the fence, if you're still waiting for the perfect time, still waiting for the interest rates to come down, still waiting for each and everything out there, just think about what is stopping you and consider investing now. And where? The where has been a question of mine since I actually came to America, because sometimes, especially some of us who come here as refugees and immigrants, finding home is always a question of concern, because we are always looking and searching for home. And it's never gonna feel like home everywhere we go. And I was actually surprised because in 2014, when I went back home to Uganda, I thought everything was the same and it's going to be just like I wanted it to be or expected it to be, home. And it still wasn't like I expected. It wasn't the home I expected to come home to. So home is literally what you make it. So you have to establish your own home, finding that balance. Okay, if your home, or you consider whatever is your home, where you prefer to invest in is Uganda or any part of Africa, or you consider it here, that's pretty much coming from you. You have to feel comfortable where you invest in. For me, after listening to advice from several mentors, they recommended investing where I am, where I can easily go to, such that if something, maybe anything happens to one of my properties and maybe some investment, I am able to access to it. Because if I don't have anybody to get to that investment, then also that hinders my investment and also hinders my growth. I've had some people who trust other people to invest on their behalf. That's also another strategy, whereby you don't have to be there to invest in that specific neighborhood. But if you trust somebody enough to invest on your behalf, that can also work. And why? Oh, why is powerful. My why is to help people, and especially, particularly, I hate poverty. Growing up struggling in the slums of Katwe, I don't know if you're familiar with Katwe, Chinyoro. Literally every day I would look out in the city and I see these high rises and wish I'm out there in the city. So growing up there, I always knew I was gonna do something and be somebody, because that was a dream of mine. And I kept that dream going. And now you just have to make it your reality, you see, because we all can. And so what drives me is to help other people also overcome those challenges of poverty. And say, for example, we come here most times when we are older, and sometimes we are the first generation to come here. And by here, I mean in America or in other developed countries. And sometimes the challenge is you're literally the sole breadwinner. Everybody and everyone is dependent on you, right? So that can be a hindrance to your investment. You just have to think about how can you balance being able to provide for everybody else, take care of yourself as well, and also for your future, because you have to always consider your future goals. And also your retirement is important, because you will not work the same if you're in your 60s, 70s. I have to think about how much money are you putting towards retirement? Do you have something saved? How about a home you can at least fall back on in case you retire and you're not able to get a lot from your retirement, right? And the how. And the how is going to be important, especially encourage everybody to try to do some research. Knowledge is power. My investment strategy won't be your investment strategy, because there's so many different strategies out there. However, if you figure out exactly what you want, and we can guide you to think about the strategy you're interested in, that will help you. I'm looking more into the long term, so I buy and hold, and also put renters in my properties. And so that's my how I invest in real estate. Some people prefer the short term. Some people do the flips. You can see in the chart at the top. Some people prefer crowdfunding and US REITs. It's so many strategies how you can actually invest in real estate. Any questions so far? Look in the chart. Any questions? Okay, somebody say, this is awesome. I'm learning a lot. That it takes a lot of permits to start real estate as commercial. I would say everything depends. It depends in your area, because I won't be able to speak on every area, but every area, they have their specific requirements. Therefore, that question, you probably have to talk to somebody in the permitting department where you are located. And same to me, we share that ghetto background. Real estate is the way to go. Oh, I'm glad to inspire you, but definitely real estate is the way to go. And this is great so far. Thank you. That's from Michael. And now we'll proceed. We'll proceed. So, what are your future goals? I want to ask you. Do you mind sharing what your future goals are? Because sometimes we keep everything in our minds. We don't want to share with everybody because I guess in our minds, we have that thing of, oh, if somebody knows about my goals, maybe they'll say something and maybe whatever that is. But I had to realize your goals are your goals. Nobody will take them away from you. Even if I tell you my goals, they won't do anything. And you have to be confident, of course, to share those goals with other people. Because sometimes people will try to bring your goals down. They might downplay you. They might tell you you're not good enough. Maybe that's not a good enough goal, you see? But I believe that God gives us those goals and those dreams for a reason. And it's only you to bring it to fruition. And even if somebody copies it, they will never be you, you see? So that's why I always share my goal. My goals are bigger. I want to be great. I want to be awesome. I want to be one of the greats in the world, but I do want to bring a lot of people with me. So I'm that kind of person who always wants to bring other people with me. And so starting with your future goal, you have to think about your mindset. I'd ask, on a scale of 0 to 100, where do you see yourself in the near future? We use this a lot in nursing because I don't know if I mentioned that I'm a registered nurse as well, but as a registered nurse at the bedside, we normally used to use a pain scale. So would ask people on a scale of 0 to 10, how much pain are you in? If you're on a 0, I'm not giving you any pain medication because you don't need it at 0. However, if you're at 100, I need to bring you whatever pain medication that meets that pain scale, right? So on here, I also share, when you talk about 0 to 20, think about, okay, what's limiting you to think bigger? Because everything is mindset. Did you know that your conscious mind actually tells the subconscious what to do? We haven't tapped into our subconscious minds. Our minds are powerful. So when you start thinking about what you are and what you can be, think about I can, I am. You see, I must, I am, because you can. So I'm very, I encourage myself every morning. I do affirmations. So I am wonderful. I am amazing. I can do this. You see, I'm a homeowner. I am a business owner. Sometimes you need that boost. Because also research shows that one negative thing that somebody tells you, when somebody tells you one negative thing, you need 7 positives to combat that one negative. Therefore, if you're not empowering yourself on a daily basis, you have all that subconscious mind with the negative. And it's not good because that's affecting you and your future. So think about what you can do differently to restructure your subconscious mind. Think positive. What you do, what you watch. I don't watch the news because ever since I stopped watching the news, literally most times when all the negativity happens on TV, some of my friends, if they know that Grace needs to hear this, they'll email me and tell me, they'll text me because they know I do not need to see negativity. But if you start watching the news and everything first thing in the morning is so negative, your day will be negative because you already impacted your subconscious mind and filled it with a negativity. So the thing about changing your subconscious mind is powerful. And I can ask, excuse me. Simba is also asking, for me, a theme park, somebody asked something about credit. Somebody asked something about credit. Things, it's right here. Things, how do I go when I am doing my own business, like tracking? They always pay checks, credit to 620 and all that. I don't know exactly what you're asking. So are you asking, how do you go about getting pre-approved if you're a tracker, since they pay you checks, however, your credit is 620? Sure. I don't know if you can hear me, but yeah, so what I can say about that, a 620 is good because it will give you more options to different loan programs. And also, even if you receive checks, so long as you file taxes and they can show that you've been paying or whatever income you've been getting, that should be able to work. Yes, because even if you are 1099, they can still establish that you've been getting paid and however long you've been getting paid. And Simba say, for me, a theme park where people come to share memories with their families, members, and friends, like an outside go trip. Awesome. That is a big dream. Awesome. So good for you, Simba. I'm proud of you. A host rides and everything, Baton Rouge. That is awesome, Simba. And somebody saying having a picture of the future in a reflection of that future. Yes, Sharon, that's right. As far as my eyes can see, yes. Because they say if your dreams don't scare you, you're not dreaming. Dreaming big is a must. Initially, let me share a confession. I was dreaming of one house. One house. And when I got that one house, because it wasn't scary me, it was just one house. When I got one house, I challenged myself to 10. You see, and now that we are 10, I'm like, what else can I do? And while I was praying, a revelation came to me, Grace, why don't you do 500? So I'm literally looking towards getting 500 properties. And that's a dream of mine. And it's scary right now, but once I get to it, it will keep pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. Because one thing I also ask people, if other people can, how come we can't? Right? It's possible. So that opens your mind that if one person can do it, that person is human, like you, so can you. So thank you all for sharing your goals for the future. And Simba also say, well, also when filing taxes, don't file as a loss as a tracker. Okay. Yeah, I don't know a lot about tracking, so this will be something I'll probably recommend a CPA to share some more information. Also, an attorney to share information about that, to be honest. But yeah, sharing future goals is awesome. Thank you all for sharing. And increasing your chances of owning real estate. Yes. So say, for example, you're at 0 today, 0% chances. How can you get to 100% in the near future, right? So having everything written down, this is what I need, and this, and like a roadmap, right? So if you have that roadmap, that will help you in the long term. And as a realtor, I help people figure out exactly what their goals are, especially focus on those needs instead of just their wants. And this graph shows that from step 1 to step 10. So one of the biggest things I always share with people is doing their own research. Sometimes we rely on other people and everybody else, but we have to also be accountable. We have to put in the work. Don't rely on the realtor or everybody else to do all the research for you. It's imperative that we do our part. Showing up like you are doing today, that's powerful. Because then if you're able to show up for yourself, can you imagine what other people are able to do on your behalf? Because they see that you're putting in the initiative, right? So I'm proud of you, and I can't wait to see where this journey goes for you. And also improving your credit score. In America, everything is on credit. I used to be intimidated by credit until one of my cousins actually called me. He was in Massachusetts and I'm in Louisiana, and he asked me what my credit score was. I thought he was playing. I was like, no, I don't need credit. I pay everything with cash. I don't like to be in debt. But there's good debt and bad debt. So sometimes we confuse that. Owning real estate is good debt. You see, because you're getting the benefits from owning. And did you know that actually people who are billionaires and millionaires have a lot of debt? They don't pay off their properties, or most of them don't pay off their properties. All of those properties are being paid off as they go. So think about that. Maintaining finances and saving money. This is very important because if you can't handle your own finances, you might get a house, because you might go through the steps, get a house, and then end up in foreclosure. That's very devastating. Because do you know that once you end up with a foreclosure on your record, that also shows up on your credit for 7 years? And that also impacts everything else you're able to get. Say, for example, you want a car, they'll give you high interest rate because of you having poor credit or having that foreclosure on your credit score, unfortunately. So think about how can you maintain those finances and save money. Getting pre-approved. This is important, especially if you're planning to utilize a financial institution or a mortgage lender. Getting pre-approved prior to looking at properties is important. Talking to the right realtor for you is important as well. Not every realtor is going to do the same job, you see? So you have to think about, can you interview a couple of realtors instead of going with the first one? And also ask for references from your friends. I'm sure you know somebody who bought a house probably in the past, who might recommend a good realtor. Ask them what did they do to help you and how did they communicate, you see? Did they explain everything? I've had a lot of people tell me that I over-explain because so many people they went with in the past did not explain anything. But I'd rather my clients are better informed than not. And having a must-have criteria. And the must-have criteria is literally helping you, guide you. Because when you start this process, it might be so overwhelming. So if you have a must-have criteria, that narrows down the search criteria. Talking about the neighborhood, talking about those needs. Say, for example, you're looking for these many bedrooms and these many bathrooms. That will help you in the long run. And visiting homes and also making an offer is always a great step, because that takes you from making an offer, the offer getting accepted, and then you go through the inspection period. Some states don't actually have to go through an inspection period. Louisiana is not required. I don't know about other states, but I recommend it. In fact, all my clients utilize an inspection period because you're protecting yourself, just like the lender protects themselves through getting an appraisal to find out exactly the value of the home before they're able to lend you a large sum of money. And then through that, after the inspection and appraisal period, we go through the final walkthrough, underwriting, and finally closing. I mentioned in the past how closing day is one of my favorite days, y'all. It is, because I remember when I was coming from Uganda, I only had $20 to my name, $20. And when I wanted to eat something at the kiosk, it cost more than $20, literally. I traveled over 30 hours and I could not eat any meal because I didn't even have a lot of money. But now I'm able to purchase a home that costs over $100,000. That's a dream, definitely a dream. And finally, moving into your home sweet home is step 10. Any questions? I see some questions in the chat. And somebody asked, if you file tax loss, you must, okay, most investors will now want to work with you because your income doesn't show a stable income to make your payments monthly. So if you show zero because of filing a loss, creditors, okay, so I'm definitely Simba, I will refer you to your CPA and a real estate attorney. Seriously, because I don't want to give you the wrong information because I'm not a CPA. That was the only question. So who remembers point 1 through point 5? Anybody? Anybody remembers point 1 through point 5? You can unmute and somebody can say something. Because those points are really important. Go back.
For me, I have just come on. Maybe you can take a through again. I'm not sure.
Okay, that's all right. Thank you for sharing, for coming and sharing. But point 1 through point 5 are really important because these are the critical steps you really need to know and take and consider seriously. Your research on that home. Say, for example, I send you information about that home and the home purchase process. What if I don't send you all the information that you might need? So looking up information on YouTube, on Google, research is imperative in this process. Improving your credit, maintaining your finances, and saving money. And this is not just during the home purchase. This will be way after the home purchase because my goal is to help my clients never have to deal with a foreclosure. Because so many times as agents, especially in particular, I'm not going to say anything bad about other agents. However, I've seen clients who purchased homes which they could not afford. 2-3 months later, they could not afford the mortgage. So I literally talk to my clients and ask them, if, say, for example, they are a two-income household, I ask them, what if one spouse is not able to work? Will you be able to afford paying the mortgage? Because our goal is to keep our assets long-term. And the next thing is getting a mortgage pre-approval. And of course, choosing the right realtor for you. And that comes with researching and also asking people you know to recommend some realtors. And the other criteria, also visiting homes, making an offer, inspection, appraisal process, doing a final walkthrough where we do an underwriting process as well as going to the closing table and moving into your home sweet home. So thank you for sharing. So as an investor, now for those of us who want to become investors, I recommend start with the first purchase of your home, at least a primary residence. Because when I was going through nursing school, they told us about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay, this is like a pie chart, no, a graph actually, where it has 5 different things on there on a pyramid. And the basic needs included housing. That's like, what is your basic need to survive? That's like water. So housing is a basic need. So if you're not stable in your own housing, that can hinder your growth to become self-actualized, which is accomplish everything you want to accomplish and fulfill. in life. So think about having your stable housing first, and then you're able to invest. And the 6 important real estate facts include, okay, investing in real estate is one of the best ways to secure an early and safe retirement. And it also is a hedge against inflation. And for those of us asking, how can you explain that? Is, say, for example, you borrow the funding from the bank, and they give you a fixed rate, 3, 6, even now, some people are worried about 7% interest. Did you know that that interest rate is fixed for those amount of years? And yet, if you're renting, your rental payments are not fixed. They can literally change them anytime. Of course, it depends on the lease and what's in the lease, but it can change as they go. It can be $1,000 today, and tomorrow it can be $1,500, and also depending on, of course, of the state rules and regulations. But you don't have any guarantees. But if you own, you have that protection at fixed rate. And another thing about real estate, okay, it offers so many tax incentives and benefits. Another one is to increase your net worth first. So for some of us who did not come from a lot of wealth, this is a great source to help us increase our net worth. Another one is using leverage. I love real estate for how it can help us leverage other people's money. Not just that, using other people to help us pay off our assets. Say, for example, I own long-term residential real estate. If I put tenants in those properties, those tenants are paying down my mortgage for the long haul, right? So I'm grateful that I'm able to do that and also provide a service to my tenants at the same time. However, they're really helping me and assisting me pay off the mortgage. And also real estate has a low barrier to entry. That's really important, because think about a 3.5% down payment if you're going with a FHA loan. That can help you a lot. Instead of putting so much in the down payment, you're putting literally 3.5% down, especially if it's a primary resident. Or if you are a veteran, you can get a VA loan where it's 0% down. And if you're using some other conventional financing, that can be 3 to 5%, depending on the lender and your mortgage servicer. Any questions before we proceed? Trying to see if they had any questions. No, not yet. Okay. So the importance of credit. Like it or not, like I mentioned, we might not have come from credit where we are from. However, over here, credit is everything. So a few facts about credit. 90% of lenders use FICO scores, which is a standard. And the FICO scores range from 300 to 850. Also, low credit scores can cost you hundreds and thousands of dollars. And that is in everything that you might be approved for. And that includes a mortgage. Okay, if you're approved for a mortgage, if you have good credit, say for example, you have a 700, of course, they won't give you the same rate as somebody who has an 850. Or if you have a 600, you're not gonna get the same rate as somebody who has a 700 or 800. However, I also want to question people that instead of waiting to get the perfect credit score, get what you can afford right now. Because sometimes what hinders us is we are trying to get to perfection, and yet progress is okay. there is beauty in progress. Get what you can afford. If you qualify to get a property with a 620, I encourage you to do it. And I say 620 because most loan programs approve with a 620. Any questions about credit? Somebody asked something about credit. I'm learning a lot. Thank you, Vincent. I really appreciate that. And the next is about our current projects in 2023. We have educational courses coming out, and the first educational course will be before the end of April. So we are looking forward to having so many people join in and learn. And we have mentorships as well as real estate planning recommendations. We'll have attorneys as well as CPAs and other professionals to assist us with real estate planning. Partnerships are important, so we'll have something to do with partnerships. We are working on that as well. And special services, we have regular services, including YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and our e-course, which is coming up before the end of April. And it will literally talk about, it has 4 modules as of today. It talks about mindset. So how to overcome those negative mindset where you feel like you're limited, you can't, and trying to help you understand that you can. The other module would talk about the different types of real estate investing. And the next one will talk about how to finance your real estate. And this can be your personal residence, also your investment property. Last but not least, it will show you some action steps to take. Because for me to be effective, I try to help people take a step further, such that you don't attend a course and it stops there. What are we doing with the course? So we have to take an action step. Action, 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 just do it. So I encourage everybody who please signs up for the course that they take the next step forward. And the next thing will be one-on-one consultations, especially after that course, and the platinum service where you can do the e-course as well as a one-on-one consultation for 6 months. And some of our portfolio, for some people who have a one house, you see the one little orange house, that's how we started. You just have to start slow, right? Slow but steady wins the race. Just like the hare and the tortoise, I love the story because you think about the long term. And yeah, we just have a few properties, in our portfolio, but we just try to keep growing every day. Yeah, and it's not going to be the flashy, because I know some people ask me, how come they don't look great? They don't look this. It has to be your strategy. What strategy are you looking for? My strategy is not just strategy. My strategy is single families. And because I was looking forward to more land. When you have more land, I could develop the land for later. I could build on it, do something I want later on. So my strategy, of course, is not going to be your strategy. Some people rather apartment buildings. I'm getting into the apartment space. We have a duplex at the moment, so I'm growing into the apartment. However, I'm still interested in the single families. And what keeps me awake at night is these next 2 graphs, the average real wealth by race and ethnicity. Believe it or not, we are still at the bottom of the totem pole, okay? So this graph is from the Distribution of Financial Accounts and Institute for Economic Equity Calculations. And it just shows the average family wealth by race and ethnicity. On average, all families experienced growth from 1989 to 2022. Though the wealth of white families grew more consistently over the time frame. Average real family wealth was at its highest for Hispanic families in the second quarter of 2022 and for the white and Black families in the fourth quarter of 2021. So do you know why the wealth, the graph kind of like dipped in 2021 for the Black families as well as white families? Anybody cares to guess what happened then? Anybody? I would say that fear caused a lot of that, because sometimes when people are panicking and they hear all these things that people are saying and sharing, COVID did the opposite. Listen, say COVID. It's surprising that actually COVID did the opposite. So many people were looking for homes during COVID and the prices went up. So, but I believe it was more of fear. When people heard about the interest rates, all the negativity, then they stopped. And they're not moving forward. When you stop, you're not moving forward. However, other people are progressing. People are still buying as we speak. I have buyers next week who are closing on their properties. I'm closing on a property next week. So it's the mindset. So you shifting their mindset. And somebody interestingly asked me today, Grace, you're talking about people encouraging people to continue buying. How about the interest rate? That's a serious question. However, I have to ask you, if you think about how much it's costing you to move from the rental, I'll pay whatever interest rate. You see, because then think about the interest on cars, the interest on credit cards, the interest on everything else. It's always up there. On an average credit card, it's over 16%. On a car, it's over 8%. And for payday loans, it's over 100%. So I encourage people, if they say 7% for a home, and you're planning to live in this home for the next 5-10 years, which is the average time people stay in homes, I would encourage you to jump on it, get that home. Especially if you're willing to go through that process and you have the criteria, please get that home. And then we can figure out the risk later. Because I shared in one of the videos on YouTube to encourage people that this is the best time to buy. So I encourage everybody who's wondering about the interest rate. Somebody said, yes, credit card interest is now 20% and 30%. Thank you. And you don't have anything to show for, unfortunately. And somebody else said, Sharon said, what range of approval would you typically get with those credit scores mentioned? And other factors put into consideration aside from credit scores, of course. So they look at your income today, debt to income ratio. And also they look at how much you're bringing in. So it's not just your credit score, it's how much you can afford, how much you're bringing in, and also your debt to income ratio, considering the credit as well. But yes, definitely those credit, working on your credit is a big thing. And what is stopping us, especially in our communities, is most of us don't have good credit. Like it or not, most of us, majority of us don't have good credit or don't have any credit. And yet that's impacting the whole community. So what one individual is not doing or choosing to do by ignoring their credit is affecting the whole community. Because I recently found out that even car insurance, because I moved into a different neighborhood and my insurance went down. I was surprised. I asked them what changed. And they were like, oh yeah, because you're in such and such neighborhood, the insurance is down. Because they average the cost of your insurance based on your neighborhood. So think about that. So we are paying more for each and everything, not knowing, you see, because of the people we are around, the neighborhoods we are in, and paying more. All right, another graph, the average real wealth by race and ethnicity second quarter of 2022. So this shows also the average Black, Hispanic, and white families in the second quarter, and shows the wealth. Actually, for Black families, it was close to $1 million. You see, difference. That's huge. So think about, especially some of us who are starting now. You're starting and you're competing with somebody who's close to $1 million in wealth. And that's why sometimes when people mention that I have to have fun, I tell them I will have fun when I get to where I need to be. And of course, I'm not saying you don't take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, have a balance. However, think about your future. Don't go on vacation, splurge, do everything else that everybody's doing just because everybody else is doing it. And now consider that those people you're doing it with, they have a head start. You don't. Unfortunately, some of us don't. And some missed opportunities. I encourage people that when they embark on this journey of investing, to get rid of that fear, because there's so many opportunities out here. And when I mention investment, I've been looking to REOs that is real estate owned. So these are properties which, if they don't sell at the court auctions, they become real estate owned. The bank takes over those properties and then sells them to auction again. And one of the properties includes this particular property. So I reached out to a few people in my area who I thought would be a great fit, and they did have the money. The problem is our limited mindset. We always think of working hard, not smart. And literally, 3 people refused to invest in this property because we were all supposed to come up with a certain percentage and own this property. And it wasn't going to be for 170, because you see a price drop, 44K, and it was 6.6 miles. So when they backed out, literally on the REOs, I had put in a bid for 30,000 and they accepted it. 30K. So that would have dropped from over 200 to 30K. But because the other people I was around, the mindset wasn't there, they backed out. So thinking about those missed opportunities, what opportunities are out there that, whereby if we purchase such a property, work together, we can get better in the future, because literally this property is a mile away from Southeastern. This is a university in Hammond. You can put rentals. You can put single family homes. These are 6 acres of land for $30,000. It's a big missed opportunity. So I always share it with people out there that if you know people who are working together, who you can trust, I encourage you, if you can talk to an attorney, of course, you have to make sure all the stipulations in the contract are there, but do it, because your money in the bank is not giving you any interest. And it's actually decreasing by day, okay? Because of inflation, of course. And so what are your real estate goals? So in this chart, I share some people want to enhance their lifestyles, enhance their legacies, comfortable living, and maintain a lifestyle. So all those are great goals to have. And a little bit about me, and thank you so much for everybody who participated. And also in the next session, especially with our course, I'll introduce our team, because I work with a team of wonderful professionals who will also be willing to share with you. Somebody mentioned in the chat, enjoy now, suffer later. I agree, suffer now, enjoy later. True, that's true, Grace. When you get where you are supposed to be, yeah, I agree, because sometimes we are waiting. Okay, we are saying, okay, I need to have fun now. I'm so young. But think about investment for the long haul. Okay, because that investment will compound and it will work for you for the long run. Instead of, I'm not gonna save, I'm not gonna do anything until when I get to 60, and then you get to 60, you can't even retire with dignity. Okay. Only say thank you, Grace. This is very informative. There's beauty in progress. Oh, yes, of course, beauty in progress. Someone said, oh my gosh, I missed most of the juicy part. Oh, don't worry, we'll have most of this recorded and you'll be able to take a part of it, especially if you sign up on YouTube. Make sure that you actually subscribe. That will help because we'll share this. Oh, if you don't mind sharing your emails, because then I can forward it to you actually after we're done with the recording. I can send you the information and you can look over it. But thank you all so much. If anybody has any questions, please, this is the time for questions.
Yes, hello, Grace.
Yes, hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. This is Evans.
Evans, hi Evans, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I wanted to inquire if you're going to share a recording of this meeting. I joined a bit late.
I am.
That
Thank you.
actually get a recording.
Okay, I am. It's being recorded right now. So thank you for asking, but we will record it and also put it on Facebook, but we'll send out the PowerPoint to everybody who leaves their email in the chat.
Thank you very much. Can you add me? Can you add me? Which chat are you talking about? The WhatsApp group or this chat of the meeting?
You can put it in this chat.
Okay,
Because I have a Zoom manager here who's helping me coordinate everything. So he'll help me forward all the information to you guys.
Thank you, Grace.
Thank you, Evans. Thanks for attending.
Okay.
Anybody else has any questions before we end?
I can't send you my email, but you already have it because I'm driving.
Okay, what's your name? So I can make sure.
David.
You say David?
Right.
Okay, so if I already have it, I'll also send it to you then, David. Thank you.
Now, another thing I was saying, Grace.
Yes.
Is there a way you can take us through step by step? Like, I'm thinking of buying a home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm renting. And maybe next time, not today, but what I'm trying to say that I'm renting and I want to buy a home. What should I really first think about? Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, what should I really think about? Should I first think of saving some money? Should I just go into acquiring a home 100%? Should I first look for properties? I want to just see like the first step someone should think about to own a property or to go into getting a property. Yeah.
Okay, David. It looks like I'll have to answer your question thoroughly, privately, because you're talking about so many different steps there. But I'll definitely get back to you as soon as we finish the Zoom chat and try to explain that, because it's little gonna be a personal thing and what's going on in your life and your finances, all that. Yes. Anybody else? We're about to end. If there's none, thank you so much for coming. Thanks, Ms. Sharon. She said this was very insightful. Thank you again for coming. We appreciate you and looking forward to you attending our course, and it will be out before the end of April. Talk to you soon. Have a great one.